who do we have today? Let's go to our favorite vice president, star of the hit HBO show Veep, Kamala Lella Ding Dong.
Yeah.
No, that.
Oh, I do remember that. That's a callback. Tell us in the comments if you remember when we first did that way back when on the Apple only days. Let us know if you've been around since then, because that was a fun one. And I can't not think of that anytime I say this lady's name. So thanks for pulling that one back out, Juice. It's a good one. So what did Kamala do to deserve this? Well, sticking on topic, we've been all over this women's March Madness tournament, the NCAA college basketball brackets. You guys know this stuff. Every office has a bracket pool. You guys probably entered one. My father-in-law was able to win some money on his. So shout out to Chick. Good job out there. Coming in third place out of like 400. So good stuff. Well, Kamala Harris, she wants equal representation. Going back to these women's voting issue thing that we talked about at the jump. She wants it to be equal here for the women in college basketball. They deserve, to have a bracket just like the men. So let's see what she had to say. Juice, you want to bring her in?
Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022? Think about that, and talk about progress, better late than never, but progress, and what that has done, because of course when, I had a bracket, it's not broken completely, but I won't talk about my bracket. But you know what, just how we love March Madness, and even just now allowing the women to have brackets, and what that does to encourage people to talk more about the women's teams, to watch them. Now they're being covered. And this is the reality. People used to say, women's sports, who's interested? Well, if you can't see it, you won't be. But when you see it, you realize, oh.
Like, anytime she speaks, we could use her on this segment, I think.
It's the same. You go.
No, I was just going to say, it's crazy.
No.
What do you got?
Nothing. Please go. 1 second. I need a second.
She says, talk about progress. Like, did you know that they didn't even allow them to do
them to have it?
Talk about progress. And I just told you that ESPN.
I was that little girl on the school bus or something.
The
like
little
right?
girl who wanted to fill out a bracket.
Yeah,
I wanted to fill out that bracket.
Like, it was like they wouldn't even show it.
They didn't even have it. And you couldn't even watch it. Now, once you see it, once you're able to see it, you're going to be loud.
She goes, my bracket's not broken or whatever. Instead of I think busted is normally.
Yeah.
It's not broken, but let's not get into mine.
Yeah. She's so relatable, Juice. Super relatable. Just like you or me, just in a regular.
What was she saying about 2020 or something? I think it maybe expanded or something, but it was it was always a tournament.
What I think she got herself tripped up on is in 2022 they expanded to have 64 teams or 68 teams. I think they do a play-in as well. I'll put that in the comments because I'm not positive, but whether it's 64 or they have the 68, just like the men, they just expanded their field to have the exact same number. And they were extended the branding of being able to use the term March Madness, right? Same as the men. Oh, March Madness. So that's what happened in 2022. That's not what Kamala said.
Isn't that still a bracket though?
Of course, they've had a bracket since 1982, Juice. Yeah. 1982.
You could put anything in a bracket if you have.
Of course.
I don't know, 8 teams. Do them out, whatever.
We used to have bags tournaments in the backyard bashes at the Needham household, right? and there'd be brackets for days for that stuff.
You make your own bracket, like you fill it up.
Absolutely. So
Make it
the females, like I said, they've been trying to get eyeballs on female sports since I was a kid. So don't tell me that, oh, now you can finally see it. You're going to be into it. And when I watched Sports Center as a kid, they would pull up the bracket. This team over here, UConn's over here, Tennessee's over here. And you'd see the bracket going until they met in the championship or something or whatever it was. But there most definitely was a bracket involved. Just nobody cared. Like a small amount of people care in the grand scheme of things. And that is just the unfortunate reality of the situation.
That's
It's not
okay,
because
so-
they weren't allowed to have a bracket, Kamala.
You looking, yeah, I'm saying, and that's okay. That, do you know what I mean? Like how Rapinoe, like instead of winning World Cups or whatever, her thing was like trying to get equal pay. Like, I agree with equal pay for doing similar jobs. Obviously, like in a sector that's not sports, but if it's like you can see, okay, people watch the men's soccer and don't watch, then that shouldn't be
Exactly.
equal pay. Like if
Exactly.
there's money coming in, and that's what she said. Oh, we have to. That was my biggest thing.
Yeah, it's about the type of money that you're able to generate, right? It's a business. Like in the point, even about the equal pay wage gappy type of stuff. Like, believe me, if ownership from the Red Sox, from the Celtics, whatever, take your league, if they could make the same amount of money off of athletes that they don't have to pay the way they have to pay LeBron James or Jason Tatum, why wouldn't they use those athletes? If those people could sell out arenas and they could charge the same ticket prices they
Yeah.
charge, of course they would. They'd be stupid not to. But the fact of the matter is, it's a less interesting product. Now, there's always room for change, sure. Look at the numbers we went over from this tournament here.
Yeah,
They outgrew the
storylines,
men's championship.
WWE storylines.
Exactly.
I would check out, the New York Pride versus the something if it was Caitlin Clark's versus that lady.
Sure, yeah.
Reese.
Yeah, and they have to lean into that, and it has to
'Cause
be.
I would check that over an NBA game. I check out
I don't watch the
0
NBA.
NBA game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But I would watch
yeah.
the WNBA if those two clash.
Absolutely, and you know what? You know what else the female college here has going for it that is completely lacking in the men's game? These ladies stay in school. The WNBA isn't what the NBA is, so Caitlin Clark didn't play 1 year and leave for the WNBA. She stayed in college. Same with Reese there, and that enabled them to have a rivalry that the networks could then play up a little bit. Guys back in the day used to stay in college. That's why it was a better product. I think you'd have the Fab Five from Michigan with Chris Webber and Juwan Howard and Jalen Rose and those guys. They didn't just play 1 year and go right to the NBA. They played a couple of seasons, came back, and you knew them. All those guys used to do that in the 90s, and it was awesome. And before that, I just say the 90s for me because that was the bread and butter when I was growing up watching this stuff. But that was a compelling story that you could bring into the tournament. And, those people who only tune in for March Madness could go and see a player like Paul Pierce and Ray LaFrance choke year in and year out for the University of Kansas and be hyped up, be the number one team, be the number one seed, and then inevitably just choke in the second round or in the Sweet 16. But they were the people you knew the players at least, and that helps. And that definitely helped in the female game here. So it's not because women weren't allowed to have brackets. So it's just an absurd comment from an absurd vice president. So Kamala Della Ding Dong Harris, you have earned yourself one big, fat, classic.
Come on, man.